HTC Vive Pro. Increased resolution and comfort, plus compatibility with all old hardware. HTC Vive is, in my opinion, the best virtual reality headset on the market. It was the first to offer hand tracking out of the box, and still reigns supreme as the best room-scale VR headset. The only problem is that the HTC Vive is losing its spot to the HTC Vive Pro. The Vive Pro enhances everything inside the original headset. It has a higher resolution, 2880 by 1600. To phrase it a different way, the HTC Vive Pro can now display 615p, which is a 78% increase over the current Gen Vive. There will be new lighthouse sensors and controllers to go alongside the Vive Pro, but if the thought of a new headset setup scares you, you should know that the Vive Pro will be sold outside of a bundle and will be compatible with all HTC Vive 1.0 hardware. While the HTC Vive Pro isn't a radical departure from the original Vive's design, there are some subtle differences to the trained eye. The first, and most subtle difference, is the color. The original Vive is best described as a light gray. The sequel, the HTC Vive Pro, is a dark grayish blue. It's so subtle a shift, though, that you might not be able to notice it unless you looked at them both in person in a brightly lit room. Moving from the front of the Vive Pro to the sides, you'll see the second enhancement, the new headphones. They look an awful lot like the Vive Deluxe audio strap, which wouldn't be a bad thing should they turn out to be exactly the same. So what's one to make of all these upgrades? Well, after using it for a round or two of Evasion, a new Destiny-esque shooter from the Montreal-based studio Archiact, I walked away feeling better than I ever have about my favorite VR headset. While the numbers tell a better story than I ever could, images on the 2880 by 1600 screen looks crisp. It was still possible to see the faint outlines of each individual pixel, but it became even easier to forget that the landscapes I saw were completely non-existent in real life. The HTC Vive Pro isn't a massive step forward for the Vive. It's not the Vive 2, as much as we'd like it to fulfill that role. To that end, it offers minor improvements upon the original. The enhanced resolution makes games feel more immersive, and the inclusion of a built-in headset helped the Vive shake that DIY feel that the original had. Depending on the price, it could be the half-step upgrade Vive needs to stay ahead of Rift, and, if nothing else, should keep the most discerning gamers tied over until the hardware leaps forward next generation.